Hello and a very warm welcome to today's Linkability Insights live stream. I'm your host, Lynnaire Johnston. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about what's new under LinkedIn's hood, the new engine that is powering the platform and is showing new and different content and has really messed around with our metrics in 2025. We're going to take a deep dive into that today. Before we do so, you are most welcome to add questions into the comments and to have me answer them if I can once I've finished talking about the issue at hand today. I'd like to thank our producer, Chef Ferguson, for always being here for us and making sure that everything runs smoothly in the background. Also, Meryl Cass, who's the person that we can always rely on to make sure that people know about our events and to invite them to attend. So please do drop into the comments a hello, where you're from. We always like to know where our Linkability Insight attendees are situated. So please do that, and I look forward to being able to respond to your comments a little later on. So let's get started today with our topic, the Creator's Guide to LinkedIn's new engine. It won't have at all missed you that it has changed a lot on LinkedIn this year. Our posts are not getting anything like the reactions or the views that they were at the beginning of the year. And even those were down from 2024. And frankly, it's just got a whole lot worse. Now, from my perspective, that's not really a bad thing. Well, really what I mean by that is it's not something that we should be measuring and deciding on whether our posts are successful or not based on, because vanity metrics like views are not something that brings in business. What does bring in business is engagement, building relationships, and generally using LinkedIn to its best advantage, rather than just relying on how many people have seen your posts. We've seen a huge change this year, and that was really inevitable, not only because LinkedIn employed a new head of AI late last year, but also because AI has become mainstream across the world this year, and I have no doubt that you're using it just like me for various aspects of your business life and probably personal life as well. So LinkedIn's made some changes too. And the old way of doing things, which was reliant on a series of algorithms, has changed. Now, that doesn't mean to say the algorithms are not still there, because they certainly seem to be. But LinkedIn has layered on top of it something new. And this new system is an AI engine. So the critical part here being AI engine that reads and understands your content like a human. And we'll talk about what that actually means, because I think this is something that is going to affect all of us, if not already. What LinkedIn did was pull together a group of its key researchers, and through Cornell University published a report which they called 360 Brew, which also made a new model. It created or generated a new model using AI that drives everything on LinkedIn now, from our feed, what we're seeing in our feeds, to search, learning from meaning rather than from the whatever else we were seeing, which was mainly metrics. So what this all means for us is that the game has changed. What this means is that what we've always done is no longer working. Well, we already know that. And we need to be focused on the new way of doing things, this new engine, this new model, and finding new ways to make LinkedIn work for us. So what does that mean? It means being visible in different ways than we have relied on in the past. So how might we be doing that? Well, the tactics that we once used, 3 to 5 hashtags, always posting at the same time, a certain number of posts a week, the ones that we've always used to create our visibility are no longer working for AI on LinkedIn. So now I think we should be thinking about LinkedIn and AI together rather than just LinkedIn separately from AI. Now, this is a little different from LinkedIn's inbuilt AI, for which it uses its AI for creating about sections for our profiles, for assisting with posts, and also in other areas, which are generally premium member features only. So this is quite different. This is impacts the entire platform, and it now encompasses everything that we do. It's not just so much about rewarding the things that we have talked about for years, like engagement pods, for example, but what it really is now rewarding is substance. So the shortcuts that we might have taken in the past in order to try to get more visibility on our posts are no longer working for us. We have to think about this in an entirely different way. So what does that mean in practice for us? Well, when it comes to content, what AI for LinkedIn is looking for is well-structured, clearly written content. So that means it needs to be formatted well, it needs to have a good headline, and it needs to have the format in a way that the AI can understand. I'll talk about more about that in a moment or two. But this has changed because you might remember that ages ago there was what was called broetry posts, where you would write a line of text, there'd be a blank line, a line of text, a blank line, and so on. Well, that kind of attempt to game the system is no longer working. And if you are still doing that, then you will probably have seen that your posts are not getting anything like the response that they once did. So with AI, there is no excuse now for not having well-structured, clearly written content. And my now process is to write the post that I want to put up on LinkedIn, put it through my AI for checking for mistakes, firstly, for checking that it's well structured, the best possible structure it could possibly be for AI and for the algorithm, and to then have a look at it after that, edit it again if it needs to be done, and then post it. So all of a sudden I've got an extra pair of eyes, AI eyes, on my posts before they even go live. And to me that seems like a sensible way to use AI now at the end of 2025. But it's not just about structure or the way your posts are written, it's about what's in them. And so now our content needs to be more in line with our views on what we are, on our areas of expertise. So this might be opinions, it might be news, it might be something new that is happening. You know me, I like to talk about the new features on LinkedIn. And so you need to be thinking about making sure your content is what your audience wants to read. But your audience is no longer just your network. Your audience now includes AI, and that has to see that what you're doing is consistently teaching and inspiring people in your network. And just let me reinforce this, because if you are doing this, it will outperform the engagement tricks that we have all been using for such a very long time. Another thing that's come up as part of my looking into 360 Brew and also the latest update of the annual algorithm report published by Richard van der Blom is that staying within your topic lanes is important. So this means choosing up to 3 to 5 topics that you post about regularly. So for me, that's new features. That's how to use AI for LinkedIn. It also includes my gardening posts too, because I still like to do those, which I relate back to LinkedIn each time I do one too. So whatever it is that you are talking about on a regular basis, choose 3 to 5 main topic areas and stick within those. And then what that does, it helps the AI to identify that this is you and your expertise, and to then surface you, which makes you findable in search, to the right people. In other words, to the audience who might be searching for what it is that you're talking about. Now, I don't mean to imply that posts that might be personal or aimed at a viral audience, because we're always going to see those, aren't we, in our feeds. But mainly I'm talking about the posts that we are trying to use professionally. A lot of people will still put up a lot of other content, maybe about something that is in the news that they've got an opinion of, or is something that's happened in the industry. And I think that is really important to do that, but also to relate that back to your area of expertise. Now, it's taken me a long time to learn how to do that, and I don't think it's necessarily easy, but guess what? Your AI can help you with that as well. So use your AI intelligently to make sure that you do stay within your topic lanes. So what I'm suggesting here, kind of obliquely, I think really, is that you could be using AI much more to help you to come up with posts that do these things that we're talking about here, that do show up the clarity that you are within your topic lanes, and that it is well structured and well written. So I believe that this year has seen a turning point for all our use of AI. And, I don't think it's just me. I began the year with not really being very keen on the idea at all, but suddenly I realized that if I didn't get on board with AI, I'd be really missing out, first and foremost, because I think it's a fantastic tool, but also that I would be left behind. I'd be irrelevant by this time of the year, and that I just simply would not be able to catch up. And I think that was the right course of action, because in the time I've been working with AI, which is since the end of January, beginning of February, that AI has changed enormously. Now, my AI of preference is ChatGPT, but I've dabbled with others, as you probably have too. And what I found is that it has just improved out of sight. Almost every time I go into it, which is now daily, there is something new, something's changed, something's different, and I can do more than I did yesterday or was able to do last week. So keeping up with those changes and what's available from AI has been a game changer for me in 2025. One of the key things to keep in mind with this new 360 Brew AI engine that is now fueling LinkedIn is that it is not just about your content. Now, it took me a while to kind of get to grips with this, and I think I've still got more changes to make to my own profile to get this right. But when you post something now, the AI isn't just looking at the post to see who it should distribute it to. It is going to look at your profile as well. So if your profile doesn't talk about these 3 to 5 topic lanes, doesn't show with clarity who you are and what you do, then you will find your posts don't do as well as they would otherwise do. They won't get distributed as widely, and your visibility will decline. So my suggestion around this one is that you take a look at your headline, your about, and your featured sections again. You want to make sure that all of these come together in one consistent, clear, credible way. You know how to do this, don't you? Yeah, use your AI to do this, to help you with it. Don't let your AI make your about section too short. Just want to be clear on that. It's still not very good at that. But you need to give it clear direction so that your headline, about section, and featured items are all consistent. Now, where I come unstuck on this one is that I'm constantly changing my featured items. So whenever we set up a new event, I always put a link to it in my featured section, and then I have the image that goes with it. Now that changes all the time. What is consistent in my featured section, though, is my 30-second video intro. And I still believe that is something that is really important. Now, can I categorically tell you that LinkedIn's AI can look at the video, see what's on the video, and then determine whether that is part of the rest of your whole system? I can't, no. But I can't see that it could hurt. And even if it can't see the video yet, it will do very soon, because AI is changing so dramatically quickly. So here is my suggestion, is that when you've finished watching, looking, listening to this today, you go back to your LinkedIn profile and you have a look at these 3 sections and really determine whether or not you think that they are doing what you need for this new system. Take it to your AI, mention 360 Brew and say, does this all comply? And ask it for assistance to help you do that. I think that that's going to be a big thing for us to do now, to make sure we are ahead of the game in 2026, which, let us not forget, is just around the corner. It's astonishing how fast the year has gone. I say that every year, and every year I mean it even more so. Now, engagement. Let me talk about engagement. This year has seen a massive change to engagement on LinkedIn in a number of ways. First of all, we were given a new metric. We could see how many views our comments have had. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the best practice, or the best strategy you can adopt for LinkedIn and visibility, is not posting any longer. It is engagement. So if you are posting and ghosting, which means you are only putting up a post and not engaging with anybody's comments once they have replied, or you are not engaging on other people's content, then your own posts will be penalized. Now, this has been going on for most of the year, and it's probably not news to you about this, but if you haven't caught up with this particular point, then it is one that is critical to know. If you go to your weekly tracker, and that's in your analytics section of your profile, you'll see how many posts you've put out and how many comments you have completed or uploaded. And you want the balance to be well in favor of the comments as opposed to the posts. So engaging on other people's content will not only get your posts more widely distributed, but it will help your visibility. I really believe that this is something that most of us are not doing enough of. And if you're not posting content on LinkedIn at all, you don't even probably need to be posting. You can probably build your visibility and your profile and presence simply by engaging on other people's content. Now, one of the things that has come out of the October update of the 2025 LinkedIn algorithm report is that you shouldn't only be commenting on the same people's posts all the time. I'm guilty of this because I like to support my Linkability members' posts, and so that's something I do tend to do, and not necessarily comment enough on other people's posts or people outside my network, perhaps second degree connections, those kinds of things. So I'm going to suggest here that you on a regular basis have a look for content that might be within your area of expertise in one of those topic lanes. Find out who else is posting about them. They might be inside or outside your network, and then engage on their posts. You might find that they'll start to engage on yours, which is a really positive thing. They might visit your profile, also a really positive thing. But this engagement is something that has really become the main strategy for visibility on LinkedIn in 2025. Now, one of the things that I've noticed particularly is that the number of people who have viewed my profile has dropped dramatically. I did the numbers on this earlier today, and it's dropped by 35% just in this year alone. That means I'm not nearly as visible to as many people as I used to be. Now, there might be a number of reasons for that. There might be people, what I talk about isn't as interesting to people. They're not interested in learning about LinkedIn. It might be that LinkedIn's not showing my posts to people. Well, I definitely know that's true. And it might be anything else that I haven't really thought through. But I'm going to start conducting an experiment to see if I can get those numbers back up again, because the people who view my profile are potential customers for me, or they might be potential members for our Linkability community, or they might be people I want to be connected with who might be good thought leaders in my area, and I want to know more about what they're thinking about AI for LinkedIn. So I think that putting more effort into our engagement, and I'm talking to myself as much as to you when I say this, is something that we should be putting more time into. I think that this is something that is going to become even more important in 2026. And if you consider the fact that, as this slide says, that comments, saves, and profile views now carry far more weight than posting frequency, then this is important to remember. I think too, it's important that I should say to you here as well that you may not be aware that the number of times your post has been saved is now visible to you, as is how many reposts there's been of it. And both of those metrics carry weight in terms of how widely distributed your posts now are. So do make sure that you check on those and see what people are responding to. What are they saving? Are they saving checklists? Are they saving carousels? I think you'll find that if you have a look at those particular metrics, you'll get a really good sense of what is going on in terms of your audience and what they're responding to. Because something I haven't mentioned is this year, I think that we have seen a change in how our audience reacts to LinkedIn and behaves on LinkedIn as well. So, nice comment from Vicky. Thank you. You're a content curator rather than a creator. That makes sense, and I think reposting other people's posts is a really good idea. So, thanks, Vicky, for joining us today. So the discoverability has gone semantic. If you're not familiar with this term semantic, it's usually put together with the word search, so semantic search. I suggest you ask your AI what it means. My understanding of semantic search and semantic protocols is that it is able to be seen and understood easily by AI. So an example of that is formatting. So if your post has a really good headline, it has a number of paragraphs that are short and easily read, there might be some bullet points, there might be subheadings, all of those are something that AI can read. It's all part of semantic search and semantic protocols. If you don't have semantic search protocols set up on your AI, I suggest you ask it about that and get it to set it up for you, because that is something I think is really important for all of us. And it means that whatever we do on LinkedIn is going to help us be found if we follow these protocols. Now, this is a move away from keywords and keyword stuffing, which you'll be familiar with, and frankly, which we've all done for years on our posts on LinkedIn. And I think that this shows really how far the AI for LinkedIn has moved. This whole 360 Brew model is really shaking things up. And so we need to be shaking it up for ourselves as well. So the upshot of this is that you need to write naturally, sound like yourself. And if you're using AI to help you with your post, make sure it still sounds like you. You don't want to be sounding like AI, because many people still have this attitude. If it's written by AI, then it's not genuine, it's not real, it's not authentic, and it's not useful, which of course I think the attitudes on that are changing, but is still the case for a lot of people. So make sure that you write naturally in your audience's professional language, which frankly you should have already been doing. Here is something though most of us probably haven't considered, and it's something I've been thinking about more and more of recent days, and I'll explain why. You'll know that I have a Linkability members community, which is aimed at helping people to understand LinkedIn and to leverage it and its power to help them achieve their professional goals. I've had this community for several years, and this year it has really turned a corner. It has become a community that interacts. Now, I might be at the center of this community, but in actual fact, what our members are doing is interacting and collaborating with each other. Members are on each other's podcasts. They're invited as guests on live streams. They're setting up one-on-one conversations and getting to know each other, collaborating in different ways, and also engaging on each other's content on LinkedIn. Now, this kind of micro community is something that the new system, AI's 360 Brew, is really going for, in terms of the fact that it is really helping you to be more discoverable, and although I hate this word, surfaceable by AI. And I think that we ought to consider how we might benefit from pulling together these smaller engaged networks. Now, let me be really clear here. I am not talking about engagement pods. I am talking about genuine interaction between people who have the same goals in mind. Now, you might have a community that's based around your niche, your area of expertise, but is completely separate from anything else that you're involved in. And that's perfectly fine. It might be a formal one, it might be an informal one. But however you do it, I think these communities really are driving reach. Networking, I think, falls into this category. And my Linkability member, Sigrid DeCast, has a global networking program that really does delve into this and really helps people to network with each other across the world. It's one of the things I love about LinkedIn is you can meet anybody anywhere in the world. And when you are at the bottom of the world in New Zealand, that is super useful. So do check out Sigrid's global networking program, because I think you will find that it is really useful for beginning to think about this micro community idea. Now, as the slide says, these kind of interactions send strong visibility signals, and more so than large follower accounts. Now, I hadn't realized this, and while I think that having a strong follower account is probably still important, it's good for your reputation for a start, and it shows that you are widely considered to be an authority in your niche. It's interesting that these smaller engaged networks are taking over. And let's be fair, anybody can do that. So it levels the playing field, which I think is very important indeed. So I think that it's important that we understand that success on LinkedIn has changed, what it looks like, the things that we have discussed, all different now. And so it depends on clarity, credibility, and contribution. So clarity around who we are and what we do, the topic lanes that we talk about. Credibility about our expertise, and that comes through recommendations, reviews, testimonials, projects, and case studies, all of which we can talk about in our posts and on our profiles. And contribution can encompass a wide number of things, but principally engagement, turning up like you are today on a live event, and generally being understood and not just seen. These are the things that I think are going to be important through 2026. We don't want to just post into a void. One of my connections this week had a post. He's got more followers than me, and he posted a post that got 18 views in the first hour. Well, he posted about how poor that was, as you can imagine, and that really is something that we are going to have to face if we do not rethink what we are doing. So we don't want to post, we need to grow smarter. And there again, that's part of what we do in our Linkability community. We share tools, tips, and the collaboration that I've already talked about to be able to all help each other. An example of that is that we have a subgroup of our main Linkability community that looks at being visible through AI. So how do we get our businesses to be discovered and findable and surfaceable? There's that word again, surfaceable on AI, the different platforms of AI. And so that little group is really going gangbusters and helping us all to better understand AI and the future of it. And so those are the kind of collaborations, community involvement, and engagements that I think that we are going to see that really work on LinkedIn in 2026. And so I invite you, if you have not yet checked out our Linkability community, to do so. If you go over to linkability.biz, you can check it out free for 7 days. But I'll just tell you a little secret. If you get in touch with me about it, I will have a chat to the boss and see if we can't get it to you for a little bit longer to check out. Because the longer you're with it, the more benefit you're going to get out of it. So do check that out. I really do think it's going to make a difference to you for next year. It really will help you to meet some great people who are authorities in their own niche. It will help you to be able to share ideas, ask questions, and generally get to know some more people that you wouldn't otherwise have done so. So I do hope that you will, in fact, check that out. Now, I'm just going to finish the presentation there, and I'm just going to pop a couple of comments on the screen that Cher has starred for me to do so. And this is a great one from Mike. Hi, Mike. It's lovely to see you with us today. Your understanding is newsletters and articles are searchable outside LinkedIn, but not posts and comments. You are 100% correct on that one. And it's important that when we're thinking about how are we discoverable off LinkedIn and by AI generally, to realize that LinkedIn is inside a moat. And the only content from inside the moat that is visible off LinkedIn, if you're not logged in, are your newsletters and articles, your company page, and some parts of your profile. Not, regrettably, your recommendations. So if you want to be seen by AI and you're putting all your eggs into the LinkedIn basket, then I recommend very strongly that you think more outside that moat than inside it. Now, my own experience with newsletters and articles in this year, when we have seen reach plummet, has been that they have maintained and even extended their reach. They are one of the two formats that are currently doing really, really well. And my article, based on what we're talking about here today, this 360 Brew model, has been the best performing piece of content I've had in months. And that's because, well, partly the topic, a lot of people are interested in that, but also because articles are seen off LinkedIn, and that is really important. They are also searchable by Google, or discoverable by Google rather, and if you use the SEO part of the article and newsletter when you're setting it up, then it can be found by the Google crawlers. I think too what happens is that your articles and newsletters are evergreen content. They can always be found unless you take it down. They can always be found. So you're going to get longevity from articles and newsletters that you simply don't get from posts. Now, I've been posting 3 to 5 times a week for years on LinkedIn. And now I've decided, because there are only 24 hours in the day, and even my AI hasn't been able to fix that one for me yet, that I need to be putting more effort into other platforms, not just LinkedIn. Recently, I set up a Substack. What do you call it on a Substack? I'm not quite sure. Account, maybe. It's got its own terminology, just like LinkedIn has. I set up a Substack account, and I've been posting content there, and a lot of other people like me have been putting content on Substack too. That is one of those up-and-coming platforms. But as well, we are also putting content onto our YouTube channel at that's Linkability NZ. And if you're not subscribed, please do. We always appreciate that. And we've got a number of videos there that don't get used anywhere else. They are just unique to YouTube. So to be found by AI, you need to be found on other platforms, is where I'm coming from on that one. Now, what have we got here from Meg? Hi, Meg. Lovely to see you with us. Live streaming still important for your attention in this AI challenge. Let me just consider this, because you'd have thought that live streams on LinkedIn were something that was visible off LinkedIn, wouldn't you? And would have been included in that list that I just gave you. But in fact, that doesn't seem to be the case. What is the case, though, is if you also stream your live stream to other platforms like YouTube or Substack, which some people now are, then that does put it onto a public platform and not inside LinkedIn's moat. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that live streams have changed dramatically this year on the back of the loss of the audio feature, which LinkedIn discontinued in December last year. And so that means that live streams have changed a lot. I had thought, and at the beginning this did seem to be the case, that people would just move seamlessly from audio to video, that instead of being off camera, they would just go on camera and they would join stage in the same way they joined the stage for audio events. However, that has not been the case. And we've found, and please, if anybody's in the audience who wants to join me on stage today, you're very welcome to do that. What we've found is that people have to be invited to come up on the stage and to be part of the event. It's also been very clear that the best way to get people to attend a live event is to send direct messages. You have to invite people. They won't just come on their own. And I think it's fair to say that that's probably true for any kind of an event. You need to promote it. So any events that we hold, we obviously there's the event setup post, and then I do a promo post, and then on the day of the event, LinkedIn puts the event setup post back into the feed. So we get 3 runs at it through the LinkedIn feed. Also, we talk about it in our emails, and we talk about it elsewhere as well. But we always send out those 1,000 default invites, which does bring us quite a lot of people to the event. But the critical key is direct messaging. It's important to remember that that is not a process that should be automated. If you are using any kind of automation on LinkedIn at all, even if it's something that you think is legal, it's likely not legal in LinkedIn's terms. And so you need to be very careful. You will end up in LinkedIn jail. So the answer to your question is it still important? Yes, I believe so. But for a third reason, Meg, which I haven't touched on today, and that is repurposing content. So if you take an hour-long event, which today's won't be, fortunately for you all, you can find there'll be enough material in there to give you maybe 15 to 20 pieces of content for LinkedIn, for Substack, for Facebook, for YouTube, for Instagram, for anywhere else that you might happen to be. And that, I think, is where the value is. Are events bringing in new people that are not part of your network? Not nearly as much as they used to. And that's because I think visibility on events has dropped like everything else. Now, we're lucky. We still get really good engagement on our posts about our events, but that's simply because of the people who are in our audience and the people who have shown up and commented and in that thread or asked questions. And so I think, yes, that they are useful still or still important, Meg, but it depends on what you are using them for and what you decide the objective is from your live events. Oh, so Jackie's asking about the impact of your SSI score. Now, this is a question I can't honestly say I know the answer to. If you're not familiar with it, SSI stands for Social Selling Index. It's an internal LinkedIn metric that it gives to you, and it is a number out of 100 usually. Not usually, it is a number out of 100, and it looks at how much you are, the kind of content you're putting out, how you are talking with other people, your messaging, whether you are building your network. There are 4 different categories that you can look at, and I'll ask Cher to put on the screen the link to your SSI score so that you can go and check what yours is. So obviously the higher the number, the better. Does it, thank you very much indeed, does that impact what AI? I really can't say, but I think it's probably not likely to. I think what's more important is the things that we have talked about today. But I think it's probably early days, and if I change my mind about that, I will be certain to share that with you, because that is something that is important to know. Is your SSI score important? Only insofar as it will tell you what you can be improving on. And we've got one final question here from Sharito. Hello, Sharito. Lovely to have you with us today. Posts outside business, like faith and personal perspectives on different topics. Will AI pass on that? I think there's 2 aspects to this. I think your personal perspectives on different topics is a very good thing, because if you don't have that and you're not sharing that, you're not going to be able to comment on too many people's posts, are you? One of my Linkability members, for instance, talks a lot about electric vehicles of one kind or another. Now, I'm no expert in that and have no real knowledge of it at all, but I do like to comment on his posts because I want to see more of them in my feed. And so I do try to make make comments that might be, well, halfway intelligent, I like to think, but are from my own experience and how I'm seeing electric vehicles or solar power, those kind of things in the world or in my life. So I do think, yes, having your own personal perspectives on different topics is a good thing to do, but you still have to stay in your own topic lane for the majority of your comments. So that would be my view on that one. Now, my belief about faith is that this is not something that is business oriented, and my personal values around that that it shouldn't find its way onto LinkedIn. However, let me stress that this is a personal opinion, and if you find that your community is faith-based and that's something that is an important value to you, and you want people to know that those are the people that you are attracting to your community or network, then I think that that is perfectly acceptable. It's how you do it. It's a bit like politics, really, isn't it? Some political commentary is probably okay, but if you are trying to force your ideas down other people's throats, I think that's where it can get a little bit dodgy. But remember that this is a business platform, and any kind of a stand that you take on any issue, whether it's faith, politics, or anything else, will attract some people, but also detract others. That's not a word I could use like that, is it? Will repel others, and if you people see that you have the same values as them, then they will be more likely to follow you, and I think to want to see your content and learn more about you, and hopefully do business with you. I think that wraps it up for today. I want to say thank you to everybody who's joined the live stream, and a special hello to my favourite person, Gillian Whitney from Texas. Hello, Gillian. Thank you for joining us all the way from the Northern Hemisphere today. Thank you, everyone else who has been in the audience with us. We do appreciate your being here to make this a live event. Thank you for your comments. Now, we expect to have another Linkability Insights live stream for you in December, and I'm also hoping to have a special edition with a special guest, and this one will be outside our usual time zone, but I will tell you more about that once I have got that confirmed. So we won't see you back here in a fortnight, but we will see you back here in December. So thanks so very much for joining us today. Don't forget to check out linkability.biz, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.